Hello, everybody. This is Terry. Today is March 12th, Wednesday. I'm in the Bay Area, and it's a rainy, stormy day here. I'm sending out a message to everybody because I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things that have been happening in my life. Its roots begin in 2020 with the global health crisis, what I call the planned epidemic of the gene therapeutics, the mRNA technology that was rolled out to the world and was forced upon us as mandates. And we're finding now through all the literature that's coming from all over the world of scientists and researchers of great quality that these injectables were indeed incredibly harmful to the human body. I have been witnessing on a very regular and more frequent basis conversations with people every day who are dealing with adverse events related to these shots, whether they came from Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, or J&J. Largely Pfizer, Moderna. These are people who are everyday people. They followed the line, they listened to the experts, and these people's lives are changed forever. Either they lost their jobs because they did not get vaccinated, like me, I quit before they were to fire me, and or they complied and could not work and has changed their worlds entirely. I have both personal one-on-one experiences of this in my life. I have professional clinical one-on-one experiences with my patients. And I also have the experience of being a manager for the COVAXX Clinic. We call it the COVAXX Clinic at the Oakland Marriott, where we took up the whole lodge area of that hotel and created the injection clinic for the East Bay. We ran close to about 1,000 members through our injection nurses a day, roughly. And I witnessed just with my own eyes fainting, reactions, immediate reactions to the shots. There was one elderly couple, elderly man went into heart block, and we brought him over to triage, and we had to call EMS to get him out of there. So this was not like the flu shot side effects, it just last a day. And that was in 2021 of February and March, which was the first couple months of rollout of these injectables. So going back to just very recently, I just returned from Esalen Institute in Big Sur, and my bunkmate was walking around limping. He could barely get to the bathroom. And so I asked him what was going on, and he says, I have a blood clot in my leg. And he went up to the hospital, and they gave him warfarin, a blood thinner, and he came back and he wasn't sure what to do because the doctor had told him there's a 1 in 10,000 chance that even if he gets on the plane to go home to DC, that he may throw a clot. Scary. He said to me, he said, Terry, if you had met me and asked me on January 18th of this year how my health was, I would have said stellar, perfect health, no problems. January 19th, he contracted a very severe case of the flu, lung infection, which protracted his disease process with that. And then he was diagnosed with a testicular hydrocele. So his scrotal sac got bigger and he didn't know why. And then after that, he also had an inguinal hernia. He also told me that trying to see his doctor was ridiculous because he was months out. And so his doctor told him to drive across into Maryland from DC to find another doctor 40 minutes away. And he said that it was the worst experience of his entire life, he's in his 60s, of being attended to. The doctor did not even touch him, he said, and he spent maybe 5 minutes with him and even walked out and didn't even assess his inguinal hernia. He actually had to call him back in. And he looked at the bulge and he goes, "Oh, that's a hernia," and he walked out. He didn't even treat him. So it's tragic. Just the other day, I was in Carmel Valley. I went to eat at this Japanese restaurant called Mika Cafe. And across the way was a gallery and it had these amazing rock photos of the 70s out. And it reminded me of the days when I was shooting and bringing my camera to the days on the green or at the Oakland Coliseum or the Cow Palace or the San Jose Civic Center to shoot the bands that I used to go see. And so I went in and I found out that those photographs were taken by the gallery owner's younger brother by 15 years. There are 15 years difference. And so I asked him if he's still with us. And he says, "Oh, yeah, he's still with us, but he was just diagnosed with ALS." And he himself, the gallery owner, just said to me, "I had pericarditis." And he said, "I know it's from the shot." I met a woman in Whole Foods in Southern Nevada. We were looking at coffee. I was looking for waterpress decaf. Couldn't find it. Kept looking. And she went down and she grabbed a decaf one because she knew that I was looking for it. We didn't say anything to each other. And she handed it to me, and that started a conversation about her not being vaccinated. But she went to have her blood checked and found that she had spike protein in her blood. And she asked me, "Do you believe in shedding?" And I said, "There's absolute a certainty that there is shedding. We've known that for many, many years now." So yes. So the point is, this is this is the epidemic that's beginning to swell like a tsunami, that some of the best experts who have been studying this since 2020, 2021, have told us that these side effects from these experimental quote unquote therapeutics are showing themselves so much earlier. Their expectation was to see some of the changes, adverse events, some 5, 10 years out, but they were happening months after the beginning of the COVAXX injections. I have found myself in a precarious position of leaving centralized medicine of my own accord because I would not follow the mandate, and studying what I could to understand this virus. Okay. I put it in quotes because there's really no certainty in my mind that the virus is actually cause for a pathogenic disease process. So there's another term called terrain theory, which is the opposing viewpoint of germ theory between Louis Pasteur and Antoine Béchamp back in the 1850s, 60s. And I have come to the conclusion that these are really death shots. They were saying that in the very beginning, and I thought that was very extreme. But I finally have gotten to the point of understanding through reading and knowledge base that I absolutely agree that these shots are not good for anybody, including our animals, by the way, which they're utilizing now in the feedlots. So my point about all of this is simple. Health is very simple. If we know and we remind ourselves that we do and are a part of nature, we come from nature. We have the same molecular components in our body, the same atoms, the same molecules, the same amino acids that build the proteins that create the organ systems in our body. We are like the trees in the forest, the flora and the fauna. And we know what is needed to sustain a beautiful forest, to help it thrive. We need clean filtered water. We need optimal nutrition. organic, if you can find it, okay? You have to look for it sometimes. Wild-caught fish, not farmed, ever. Grass-fed, grass-finished beef or any other kind of hoofed animal is what you want. So it's important that you be impeccable with your sourcing. Whether you go to a co-op, if you have one near you, hit the farmers market, get to know your producers. Talk to them. They know. Farmers know what's up. Your mental well-being is important. Today, there is an onslaught against our capacity to maintain a sense of autonomy for ourselves, and our brains and our minds are being co-opted by the propaganda and the feeding in every domain, whether it's social media or in the news cycle. Don't believe it. Okay, trust your intuition. So mental wellness means being pro-social. It means reaching out and having down tech time. No computers, no phones. Just sit and talk to people or read a book for a few minutes. Get back into the rhythm of slowing down and taking the time to understand things as they evolve over chapters, not over a paragraph. Our mental wellness is also connected to our pro-social behavior and the choices of the people that we want to be around. We are reducing inflammation in our body through the water that we drink, through the nutrition that we eat, and through our thoughts and stress, so that we're able to keep a balance, a homeostasis in this place so that we can minimize the inflammation in your body. Inflammation is the root of all disease. Root of all disease. It's what presents toxicity into our body that creates the death of cells, creates the waste products that increases toxicity that makes us ill. The other thing to think about here is to maintain an optimal level of immunity is to not only do it with what you're drinking, what you're eating, and what you're thinking, but also with how you're moving. So exercise every day. If that's getting out and running, biking, swimming, hiking, doing some body weight exercises for 20 minutes, to stretching on the floor versus sitting on a couch while you're ingesting technology or a movie or a show. Okay. One of the elixirs for joint mobility, fascial mobility, and developing some endurance in your muscles. Your skeleton needs it to be healthy. Movement is hormonally positive and reduces cortisol levels, the long-term stress hormone that we have that builds up over time and peaks around 7 to 10 days. We live in a very, very stressful world. We do. And this is my ask of everybody who I work with, is to take on the responsibility of being your own healer. I'll show you some of the steps and you take it on. And I guarantee you, you will feel better. I don't care what name is in front of the disease process that was given to you. I don't care if it's autoimmune. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care if it says PD, MS, ALS, benign fascicular syndrome, stiff person syndrome. But always be in the notion of, I'm going to be moving part of the day. I'm sitting on the floor and I'm actually stretching out a little bit on my legs here, just touching the void a little bit as I'm talking to you all. So that's a form of exercise, okay, movement practice. That helps to also keep your fascial system mobile. It keeps your muscles replenished and moving. And it's just good to do. You want to maintain flexibility into the later years of your life. I'm in my 60s, and I am aware that my body needs a little bit more attention than it did when I was 25 and 30, when I was exercising quite a bit. So the other thing is, be aware of the choices that you make in the exercises that you do, and really listen to your body and what it's telling you. Okay, when you need to push a little bit and when you need to pull back. Supplementation. There are just a few things. If you have an optimal arrangements set up and you're doing this thing very, very well, go see your doctor. Go get a full lab panel done. Look at your vitamins and minerals. Look at your hormonal levels too. Everything. And then speak to a functional medicine doctor, maybe an integrative physician, maybe a naturopath or a homeopath. You want to keep your immune system boosted. You want to stay strong. You want to keep the watercourse ways in your body flowing, which are your circulatory system, from the small one cell capillaries all the way up to your large vessels that run up and down, north and south on these byways, to keep you flooded. Keep the rivers flowing. Imagine that you are a river or a stream on a hike and you just want to jump into that stream and feel the water run over you. This is what you want to think about inside your body. Clean, crystal clear. Okay? All righty. If you have questions, hit the comments section down there, ask a question. I will get back to you immediately and answer what I can. And if I can't, I'll research it for you. Okay? All right, guys. Bye for now.